Welcome back. 1 month exactly. That is how long our shortest-serving president, William Henry Harrison, had in office. He died of pneumonia or maybe some other effects. It's not really clear on the historical record, but that illness followed an almost 2-hour-long inaugural speech and lots of parties and greeting people well wishing him his arrival to the presidency. And he did all that on Inauguration Day, despite blistering cold, and he refused to wear an overcoat, gloves, or a hat. Largely forgotten, Harrison's address focused on America's fight for democracy, as well as the importance of making sure power in the federal system was evenly distributed. That is the focus of a new essay that's part of the In Pursuit series that examines the first 250 years of American life. I spoke with the author, historian Sharon McMahon. Here's some of our conversation. William Henry Harrison gets the footnote treatment all the time. And there's a couple of reasons for that, but you argue, Sharon, we would be wise to spend a little bit more time, not only on the short presidency, it was just a month, but on the inaugural address of William Henry Harrison. Why?
Yeah, you're right. He's president for only a month, and so most Americans couldn't even pick him out of the lineup. But one of the things that I think is so interesting about him is the longest inaugural address in history that ends up getting cut down by Daniel Webster in advance. It was longer than he even delivered. Imagine standing out on the Capitol steps for all of those hours while he delivers a multi-hour inaugural address. But what he says is important. And one of the things that I think he reminds us of is the spirit of party, the excess factionalism that Americans are prone to. And this is something that George Washington warned us about. And this is something that he saw taking shape in America in new ways that he thought was potentially dangerous. It was going to take power away from the people and put power in the hands of parties. And I think in many ways we're there in America.
And he also talked at great length in the inaugural address about the separation of powers and that those separated powers serve best, exist best when they stay within their own confined and determined territory.
Absolutely. That we built 3 branches of government for a reason. And it works best when Congress is actually doing their job. Listen, most Americans today don't have a very high opinion of Congress. And I know that's not a popular thing to say in Washington, D.C., but it's true. Congress has low approval ratings. And he felt like Congress needs to do its job so that the president can do his job. And so the judiciary can do their job.
He also warned, and I'm going to quote him here, about the old trick of those who would usurp the government of their country in the name of democracy. Meaning you can beguile the people saying you're a defender of democracy while taking power away from them and gathering it for yourself.
It's another way of saying, well, wolf in sheep's clothing, that you are using the language of democracy, you are co-opting the imagery and the language of what it means to be a democratic nation, and instead what you are doing is consolidating power for yourself and taking it away from the people. Because the more powerful leaders grow, generally speaking, the less powerful the people become. And he saw this as a trend on the horizon. He saw what was happening in the country, especially because of the incredible political and economic unrest that had been happening prior to his election. We think about, the Great Depression in the early part of the 20th century. This was the Great Depression of the era, in which we did not have safeguards like the Federal Reserve. We just had bank failures where people lost everything. We had no rental assistance to keep you from becoming homeless. The economic unrest was so significant. And he saw how during times of unrest, there is a propensity for leaders to try to mollify people's feelings and say things like, I'm a great president for democracy, but in reality, their goal was to consolidate power for themselves.
You can listen to our entire conversation on your favorite podcast platform, and you're going to want to do so. It's really good.